with Brownfield, taking a look at the plots and talking to the experts at MFA at the MFA training camp in mid-Missouri. Joining me is MFA's Conservation Grazing Specialist Landry Jones. Landry, we're going to be talking about native warm season grass establishment and fertility today. 101, like what's the thing that folks need to know if they're considering, the native warm season grasses?
Yeah, first off, what we're really trying to kind of showcase out here is that sometimes native grasses get a bad rap from a standpoint of how hard they are to establish, how to manage them, and so our focus out here is to show that they're not hard to establish, they're not hard to manage, a little bit different management than maybe what some producers are used to with cool season grasses, but not necessarily harder. And so that's what we're trying to focus out here is just how to apply some of these practices for our staff that then can go work with producers and help kind of be that trusted knowledge.
When you're talking about warm season grasses, what kind of grasses are we talking about?
Yeah, so there's quite a few. So the native warm season grasses are the grasses that would have been here historically on all our remnant prairies. Pre-European settlement. So there's a lot of different species. The species that we focus in on are the ones that are the higher producing forage ones. So big blue stem, Indian grass, switchgrass, and gamma grass. Those are kind of the big four. But what we have here behind us is big blue stem and Indian grass.
Okay, so what do farmers need to know if they want to establish this? Why would a farmer ever want to establish something like this?
Yeah. So most of our farms in Missouri are predominantly cool season grass based, meaning that the grasses grow very early in the spring and then they go dormant and kind of die off sometimes in the summer and then are active again in the fall during the cool seasons of our season. So native warm season grasses, they help fill that summer slump. They help fill that productivity in the summer times that our cool season grasses just aren't giving us. And so a lot of times it can increase not only forage production on their farm, it can increase hay production, it can increase sometimes carrying capacity, more animals producers are usually able to have because now they've got a highly productive forage that they can utilize in the summer that they've never had in the past.
So why is this trickier to work with than the cool season grasses?
Yeah, well, a couple different things. The establishment is a little bit different. We're kind of tied with some herbicides that we can use because they're a little bit different than our cool season grasses. So from an establishment standpoint, it's that. It's also planting depth, planting rates. That's a little bit different. But from a management standpoint, it gives them more production in the summer months. And from a management standpoint, it also is a little bit different on how you manage these from harvest heights, which we're going to talk about at our training camp. What's the best height to harvest these forages? Some rest periods, when we can utilize them in the summer, when we can start utilizing them for best management practices, and then kind of when we need to stop utilizing them so that they can go be healthy plants when they go dormant in the wintertime.
Tell us a little bit more about harvest. At what height do you want to harvest these grasses to be able to use them? Yeah,
and so that's kind of a main difference that folks kind of have a hard time wrapping their head around, is that from a cool season grass standpoint, we want to harvest them with hay machinery probably in that 2 to 3 inch range. From a native grass standpoint, we want to be probably at 8 inches or above. And so that's different for producers to kind of wrap their head around. But that's from it's native warm season grasses and cool season grasses are just physiologically different plants, and so harvesting them at lower heights like our cool season grasses can have detrimental effects, and we can see stand thinning and then other plants kind of creep into those plots that we don't want.
Landry, what other things should folks who are attending this training day take away from your session here with the warm season grasses?
Yeah, I think just the productivity. I mean, we were talking about it this morning, but there's not a forage really out there right now, especially cool season grass, that can produce the forage that we have here behind us. And so just opening producers and opening staff's eyes to the productivity of these forages and the nutritional value and everything that native grass has to offer for a producer.
Landry, thanks for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. We are here at the plot for MFA Training Day. Landry Jones with MFA. I'm Kara Hart for Brownfield.